The reading this morning comes from Mark's Gospel, chapter 6, and I'm starting to read at verse 30. The apostles gathered round Jesus and reported to him all that they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going that day, they did not even have a chance to eat. He said to them, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. But many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things.
Thank you, Angela. Do you ever get excited about anything? I mean, really excited. I was walking through town. Sandra and me were walking through town the other day. Don't worry, it's not about you, Sandra. And we were walking through town the other day, and we'd taken our little grandchild out, Caleb, the 3-year-old that was up here before, and we'd taken him out to Pizza Express, because he loves dipping dough balls. So we took him to Pizza Express, and as we were walking back through town again at the end, I was trying to just think of fun things to keep him occupied while we walked up the high street, basically so I didn't have to carry him all the way. So I was trying to think of things to encourage him. And as we're walking up the street, we saw some of the benches ahead. You know those benches we've got at this end of town? Little chairs and things like that everywhere. So I said to him, "Come on, let's run to the chair over there, Caleb, quick." So we ran to the chair, and we go and sit down on the chair, and Sandra's still coming along, and we said, "Hi, Grandma," and Caleb's waving, "Hi, Grandma," and then Caleb goes, "Carry on, Grandma, go on that way." So Grandma said, "Oh, right, okay." So she goes on. I said, "Should we run to the next one?" He says, yeah. So we run over to the next one down the street, and we get there, and we're like, "Hi, Grandma, hi, Grandma." And as soon as Grandma comes, then we both go, "Carry on, Grandma, carry on, Grandma." And this carried on all the way up the high street. Honestly, everyone who was sat there and around was just looking and was laughing as well. It seemed to bring joy to everyone on the high street, this little antic we were doing, till we got to the top. We got really excited. What do you get excited about? What do you get excited about? What's that? Chocolate. Excited about chocolate. What else? Holidays. Anyone been excited this week about anything? Sleep. Yeah? A birthday. Have you had a birthday this week? Happy birthday. Very good, very good. You said something. What did you say, Leona? Putting the kids to sleep, yeah. End of the night, kids in bed. Whew, so exciting. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know one thing I get excited about as well is I get excited about people encountering God in a special way. I don't know about you, but I love it. I love seeing people experience the presence of God. Just encountering Him, getting, just knowing God's speaking to them, and it making a difference, or them grasping something spiritual, like from scripture or a sermon spoke to them, or something just in a prayer time, and it's like, this has made wow, God's speaking to me through this. This is making a difference for me. I love that. I love seeing people get saved. I love baptism services where people are saying, "I'm laying it all down for God. I want to follow Jesus with all my life." I love that passion and that commitment and that, desire. Do you? In the story we've just read, the disciples came back so excited. I mean, they were buzzing, man. They came back and they're like, Jesus, guess what's been happening? We've been healing people. We've been casting out demons. We've been preaching the good news, and people have been getting it. People have been getting saved, wanting to follow you, Jesus, and get baptized. They're all excited. It says that earlier on. It says it in chapter 6, verse 15. They went out and they preached that people should repent. They drove out many demons and anointed many with oil, many people who were ill, and healed them. Wow! They were so excited, and they're telling Jesus all about it. It says the apostles gathered round Jesus and reported to him all they'd done and taught. They were so excited at what God had been doing. And they would have just kept going. I'm sure they would have just kept going and kept on with it. Where next, Jesus? Where do you want us to go next? It says they didn't even have time to eat. Anyone ever worked through the lunch hour? Yeah? Or too busy with everything going on, doing the washing, the cleaning, whatever. And, oh, no, I haven't had lunch yet. You get to that point. It says in verse 31, then because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have chance to eat, Jesus said to them, come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. But Jesus is so excited, we want to carry on with what's going on. Come with me. That's really good. I'm excited for you. It's great. But you need to stop now. You need to come with me to a quiet place and get some rest. We've been talking for the last 4 weeks, about the need for us to do this. The need to take time out for silence, away from the busyness and noise of life, to get some solitude. And that's what Jesus and the disciples look to do here. It says in verse 32, so they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. We've been talking about the need for Sabbath, a Sabbath day, a Shabbat. Just time without doing lots of things, just to be with ourselves, be with perhaps close family or friends, be with God. And we've been talking about simplicity. Simplicity in life, not clogging it up with things and belongings and other things to do, just trying to simplify our life a bit more, make it a bit easier on ourselves and give us a bit more space for that time with God and time to let our souls catch up with us. Today is the final one of this series. And really it's a kind of summary of it all, and the title, we're using the fourth part of the 4 things that John Mark Comer puts in his book, and the title is simply Slowing. It's just trying to slow down, to give ourselves time for this stuff. Now some have been thinking we've been talking about this stuff for long enough now. Well, it is the last week. We're not going to do it again after this week in particular. But I wonder how many have made changes because you've been challenged by this series so far. Like, we can teach it and preach it and talk about it, but is it making a difference? Has it made a difference in any of your lives? Maybe we sat as leaders the other day and we just shared around the room if any of us had been impacted, and some of us had. It was interesting to hear the way that people have been trying to put things in their life just to change little things to help with this. Has anyone here and who's willing to share just something that you may have done or begun to do or trying to do in light of the series? Anyone share anything? Yeah, shout us out. Okay, just trying to have some time in the evening where you put your phone away, deliberately so, and instead of doing that and just scrolling, reading the Bible. Okay, great, well done. Yeah, Catherine. Just decluttering. Decluttering. Yeah, so trying to decluttering your mind and just to be, and things in the house and that kind of thing, decluttering, yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, that's okay. We had some really good ones yesterday. I'm not going to share everything that they said, with you just now, but there were some really good things that people have been doing, and it's been making a difference to them. I'm hoping there's more than that, but if there's not, then that's even more important. We reiterate it today, because this stuff is really important. This is really important. Jesus thought it was really important. It isn't easy in the busyness of life. So I take heart in knowing that Jesus and the disciples found it quite hard too. Oh, look what happened here in verse 33 and 34. But many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. And when Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them, because he said they were like sheep without a shepherd. So what did he do? He began teaching them many things again. Hold on a minute, Jesus. You're meant to be going for rest and solitude. But Jesus, in the circumstances, says, okay, this situation needs this. My compassion for these people needs this. I'm not legalistic about this. I'm going to adapt to what's happening. And I'm going to go with this and teach these people right now. They need it. And then the story goes on. We don't read it all, but the story goes on. He says they're hungry now. The disciples say they need to go now. He says, well, let's feed them here. And that's where the story of the feeding of the 5,000 comes in at that point. He breaks bread and fills these baskets, and then 5,000 men and other women and children on top of that get fed, because Jesus looks after them all. Just 12, just with some loaves and fishes. It's an amazing story if you've not read it. It's there in Mark 6. That's where the miracle happens, in the midst of that. So it wasn't a solitary place. It was meant to be, but it wasn't. Even Jesus found it difficult, and at first his compassion overcame the need for rest. And most of us find this stuff hard in the busyness of life, to find time for solitude or Sabbath, to slow down. We might make a good start, and then we fail again, and it's easy to give up. But watch what Jesus does here in this story, because he doesn't stop there. After feeding the 5,000 with his disciples, he goes straight back to the plan again. It says in verse 45 of this chapter, immediately Jesus made his disciples get into the boat that they'd just come across in and go ahead of him to Bethsaida, while he dismissed the crowd, and after leaving them, he went upon a mountainside to pray. He didn't give in the plan altogether. He just put it back a bit, but it was still important that his disciples had time away from the crowds to rest, that he had time away and time with God as well. This is important. Don't give up just because you fail sometimes on it. Keep trying. Get this rhythm of life, of work and rest. Whether life's going well or it's not, the need to slow down and pace ourselves better is something that goes countercultural at the moment to the speed of life, the speed of internet, the instant thing of everything. But it's something that if we're going to get closer to Jesus and we're going to keep quality of relationships with our spouse, with our children, with family and friends, we need it. And most of all with God. And for our own sanity. The book that we've been following for this series by John Mark Comer, John Mark Comer says in it, slowing is a spiritual discipline. And he says you can have fun learning it as well. He says you can learn patience by putting yourself in positions where you have to wait or slow down. It doesn't sound like much fun to me. But he says, think about it and try it. I know that my son-in-law, Tom, I can't remember if I told you this 3 or 4 weeks ago when I did my first one, but if I have, I'm repeating. Some people might not have been there. But Tom, my son-in-law, he really, it was really frustrating sometimes walking with him. Because when we'd go into London, because he lives in London, and we'd be walking along, and where there was when we came to a pedestrian crossing, and there was absolutely no traffic on the road at all, and everyone else, including me, just kind of like, we'll walk across. No point in pressing the pedestrian crossing and stopping the traffic when it does come. That's just inconsiderate, isn't it? Just get across the road, there's nothing coming. So everyone just is walking across the road. Now, I've been talking with Tom as we're walking along. Hey, Tom, how are we doing? Yeah, this, that, there. And then there was this, and we were going, yeah. And I get to the other side of the road, and I'm walking, and Tom. And everyone's come across, and he's at the other side of the street. He's pressed the flipping button. Everyone's come across, and he's pressed the button. And he's just... And I waited on the other side of the thing, and then, of course, all the traffic then starts to come, and it comes round, and it goes past, and I'm waiting, and I'm thinking, we're meant to be here. Come on, man. Anyway, then it stops, the lights go there, and he walks across the road to me, and I said, what happened? What are you doing? He says, I'm just waiting, and I didn't get it. I thought, idiot. Who's she marrying? I knew he'd read this book. And later on, when I read it, because a lot of people were kind of talking about it at the time, I got it. Now I think, and he thinks, to be fair, I think he went to a bit of an extreme with it at one point. He kind of took it more like the Bible, and it's not the Bible. Okay, he did everything quite extreme. And so he was very, very, very disciplined at this. And I think to the point that he would have ended up not marrying my daughter if he'd kept going like that. She got him to chill out a little bit. But actually she learnt some things from him as well. And I've learnt some things from him as well, which are good for us. Actually, he was onto something as well that we needed to learn from. He says... John Mark Comer says we need to slow down, slow our bodies down as well as our minds. This is a whole person thing, and we can try and have some fun with it. He lists 20 ideas in his book. He says to gamify slowing down in different areas of our life. I'm not going to tell you all 20, but here's a few of them, right? Ready for this? I came in this morning. I came into church this morning, right, and I sat down, we have a little morning prayer meeting. I sat down with Claire in the prayer meeting, and she says, you all right? I said... And what did I say? I can't remember now. Eh? I said, I'm such a hypocrite. She said, why? I said, I'm going to be preaching this morning. And everything I'm going to be talking about, Sandra's going to be there going, well, you do that. Driving. Remember the song? He didn't like that when I'm behind the wheel, I tell you. Stick to the speed limit. Stick to the speed limit. Cruise in the slow lane. Do you know what? I was coming back. I went to visit family in the north of England, and I just want to get back. It's a long 4.5 hour journey back again from up there. I just want to get back, right? But I thought, I've got to put some of this into practice. So I decided I was going to stick to the speed limit all the way, maximum 70, in fact 68, because it's meant to be better for your fuel car economy, and what's 2 miles an hour? Well, it was quite frustrating, but what's 2 miles an hour? And sit in the inside lane, not the middle lane like some people do. Frustrating middle lane drivers, don't do it. Anyway, sit in the inside lane and just be cool, relax. And if you come to something, you can move out, overtake, move back in again. Don't worry about it. Stick the cruise control on the car. Great. My journey was so much better, man. I wasn't like, who am I going to be overtaking next? It wasn't like that. It was a stress-free journey. I actually almost enjoyed it. Stop at amber lights. Oh, man. Anyone who's seen that amber? Oh, he's coming, but I can't stop. My first experience with the police was when I was a young lad. Well, it wasn't my first experience with the police. My dad was a policeman, so that was my first experience with the police. But my first experience on the other side of the law with the police was driving my car with my girlfriend when I'd just got my license, and I'd gone out for a night out with her, and we were coming back, and it was late at night. I think we'd gone for a meal in the cinema or something, and we're coming back late at night, and honestly, I was driving really carefully because I'm aware of how they go for new drivers, right? So I'm driving really carefully, and we drove through some lights, and they were on. They just changed. Honestly, this is true. Believe me. They just changed to amber just as I was coming up to them, just as I came to them. And if I'd have braked on amber, my girlfriend would have probably shot. No, I don't know whether she'd wear a seatbelt or not in them days. But anyway, it was like, it was too quick. Do you know that moment? It was too quick. So I just carried on. A police car was behind me and pulled me over. What? He says, You went through a red light. I said, it wasn't red, it was amber. He says, well, it was amber, so you went through the amber light. I said, well, I couldn't, it was too late to stop. He says, you've got to stop at amber lights. You can't go through amber lights. That's the law. And he gave me 3 points on my license. Yes, I'm as disgusted as you are. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I probably do need to get over it by now. I had to go and tell my dad, and he's in the police. Anyway, but it's not always that close for me. Sometimes I know the light's going to amber, but I just want to get home, and learn to just, it doesn't matter. I kind of just don't speed up towards the lights just so they can change. Just slow life down a little bit. So this is what he's on about. He's saying, you can kind of practice this stuff. Checkouts. He says, choose the longest line at the checkout. What? Choose the longest line at the checkout. Practice patience. Tell you what I want to practice. Practice patience. He says, practice patience. He says, why not look at the cashier and be praying for them while you're in the line, and then think about, are they looking a stressful day, or are they doing a really good job and being happy with the customers? And when they get there, just be kind to them. Say to them, you're being really nice to the customers. Well done. You look like you're enjoying your job. Or thank you for doing what you're doing. I know it must be kind of hard, especially in this heat, but thank you for what you're doing. Like, be kind to them. Oh, okay, thank you. So, be watching and aware, he says. Be early. Set off early for appointments. Be 15 minutes early for church. I had to get that one in there. Like, why are we always rushing when we know it starts at the same time every week? When we know school's at the same time every week for getting kids there, when we know work's the same time, when we know church is the same time, why are we rushing? Don't do this to ourselves. Prepare ourselves better. Get up that bit earlier so we can take life slower and not be in such a hurry. Walk slower. Take in nature as you're walking. Pray. Don't be in a rush everywhere. And if you're with your partner, like I am with Sandra, when I'm walking sometimes, don't go at a different speed so that you're 3 steps ahead of them all the time and they're walking behind like a Muslim woman. We're Christians. We can walk with our wives, hand in hand. You get me? Oh, come on. You know what I'm talking about. Enjoy cooking. Less speedy, ready-made meals. It's healthier for you, and take time to eat with family. Not all be rushing in and out at different times, and you never get to sit down together. Sit with your partner if you've got one. Sit with your family and enjoy a meal with them and catch up on their day. Slow down and appreciate the things in life like this. Oh man, mobile phone. He talks about mobile phone a lot. He says, have some times in your day to put it away and break that addiction. You talked about doing it. That was great. A family was telling us in the church that they now have Sabbath with their phones on Sunday. They say we're putting phones away for the day and we don't touch them all day. And when they're tempted to do so and have a little sneaky look at their phone, their kids say, Mom, Dad, don't touch the phone. Have a day off from the phone. See if you can do it. Play the game. Treat it like a child. Put your phone to bed early. Away from the bed. Let it lay in the morning. So it's not the first thing that you look at. 75% of us sleep next to our phones and 90% of us look at it. It's the first thing we look at when we wake up in the morning. 90% would prefer to look at our mobile phones than our wife. I'm joking. But let the first thing that we spend time with in the morning not be our mobile phone and social media or the news with all the bad news and the gossip. Let it be time with God. Let's win the day right at the start of the day, right? Start with Him. One of the things I've tried to do in my life on this is just go and sit in the garden at the start of the day. I mean, can't do it if it's chucking it down, but when it's not, just go and sit in the garden quietly. I actually just get up really early and go and sit in the garden for an hour. You don't have to sit in the garden for an hour, but I just get up really early. I love it now. Go and sit in the garden for between half an hour and an hour. Not every single day. I do it when I can. Sometimes I think, I'm going to be kind to myself and have a lie-in today and so on. But I generally am trying to do that. And when I've been doing that, we got some pictures, Dan. Have you got the little... We've got a little bird box, and there was these blue tits in the bird box, and the mum came and fed them every day. We've got a little video. This is our bird box. There's the blue tit. Mum arriving, flying in. Every single morning, I saw this happening. It was very beautiful. And then I saw, there she is feeding, and the little baby's popped its head out, and she's got a little thing in her beak. And then I saw this happen. The babies started to come out one morning, and I saw 7 little baby blue tits fly the nest, one after the other. I did get my phone out and take pictures because it was so wonderful. That's the 7th one. I thought after I kept watching them, I thought, I need to get this, and I managed to get that shot. Thanks, Dan. I would have missed that. It was so beautiful. It made my morning. It made my week. I just appreciated nature. I even learned to appreciate the ants on my patio walking back and to. I found out where the holes were and I put ant powder down afterwards. Social media. Set times in the day when you're going to do it. Not all the time. We don't have to be looking at it all the time. Emails too, if it's not part of your job. Experts say we should only do emails twice a day maximum. You know, we should only look at them twice a day maximum. That's what the experts say, because we spend too much time going back and to with it all. And stop all notifications. He goes quite far, John Malcolm. He says, stop all notifications, delete most of your apps, limit your surfing and your shopping time. TV streaming, limit the hours we spend on TV each week. Choose carefully what you watch. It consumes our free time so much, takes it away from family, friends, God, exercise, books, reading the Bible, silence, solitude, sleep late at night. It takes so much of that quality time away, watching TV. He says, why not start with picking an amount of hours you're going to allow yourself to watch TV in a week. Let's say 10 hours. You can choose what you want. The next month, cut it down to 9 hours. The next month, 8 hours. Some people are now looking at me going, what? And then when you get to 6 months, after 6 months, you'll be on 4 hours a week. I would say, if you're not going to give up TV altogether, that's reasonably good. One movie, one series episode, and an hour to catch up on other things like news and so on. Could we live off that? Probably. And you'd free up all those hours. It's not prescriptive. It's asking us to think about how we spend our time and our life. Ephesians 5:15 says, be careful how you live. Make the most of every opportunity. Every hour, every minute matters. We've talked about inhibiting the moment, being in the present, working towards eternity, appreciating what we have while it's with us, recognizing the opportunities for good and growth, seeing every minute as a precious gift to use wisely. It's gone in a minute, literally. Talks about having a non-anxious presence, Edward Friedman says. Paul says in 1 Thessalonians, make it your ambition to lead a quiet life. Make it your ambition to lead a quiet life. In a world full of noise and distractions, that's hard, but it's not impossible. Make it your aim goal to work towards it slowly. Be kind to yourself on the journey. You'll fall, but get back up and try again. Bob Lawrence says, practice the presence of God. Practice these things until they become more natural and enjoyable and part of your life. Take up Jesus' easy yoke. Listen carefully to him and let him guide you. And fight for this. The book's called Ruthlessly Eliminate Hurry, and that's why, because we've got to fight for it, because it's not easy. Ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. Life isn't getting slower, it's getting faster and faster, fuller and fuller. How will you live? Will you go along with it, or make a determined, deliberate stand against it, ruthlessly eliminating hurry from your life? And I finish with a little story. It's me being an idiot again. I was meant to be sitting and spending some quality time with my beautiful wife in the garden and just sitting down relaxing one afternoon. And I kind of saw that we've got like a bit of a vine over near where that bird box is. And I kind of saw that and I thought, it's overhanging everywhere. I'm just going to sort that out. She said, don't do it now, just relax. You need to slow down. You've been really busy. Just stop and relax for a bit. And I said, well, I'll just go and do it quickly. So I went up. She said, well, I'm going in. I'm going to start tea. So she went in the kitchen to start tea. And I went up and I thought, I can't be bothered getting all the stuff out. I can sort this out quickly. So I got the bin and I put the bin there and I climbed up off we've got a patio settee thing. I climbed up off that onto top of the bin and had my clippers, and I'm clipping the vine down. And I was doing quite well. There was one more bit over there I just had to lean over to. And I put my foot on the back of the couch that we've got, on the back of the patio settee, just to get my balance. And didn't. And went. And Sandra heard the bang and saw me disappear from out the kitchen window. And came out, and I was lying on my back where the settee had gone over, and she came running out. She said, are you all right? Are you all right? I said, I think so, yeah. I think I'm okay. Just help me up. So she helped me up. And I got up, and I stood the settee up, and I said, oh no! It's wobbly, I've bent it. She said, never mind the flipping settee. It's you I'm bothered about. What were you doing? I thought you'd really injured yourself. Are you all right? I said, yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay. I think it caught my fall. But I've broken never mind the settee. I'm bothered about you and what you could have done because you were rushing. You were in a hurry. You didn't need to do it like that. You should have done it properly and taken your time. Because that's when things go wrong. When we're in too much of a rush and we don't slow down. That's when things go wrong. That's why it says in the Bible things like, Be slow to speak and slow to become angry. Slow down, because we say the wrong things, we do the wrong things, we make the wrong decisions. God help us to put some of this stuff into practice in our life. To slow down, enjoy time with one another, with him. It's better for us. It's better for our relationship with God and our walk with Jesus. Amen. Let's pray. Father, I thank you that we've been able to take time in this series to do this, to walk through this together. And I really pray that you'll help us to put some of these things in practice in our lives. That we might grow in deeper relationship with you, Jesus. Grow in our relationships with our spouses, with our families, with our friends, with others around us, that we can be a blessing to others around us as well. That we might grow healthy lives, slow to anger, being patient with one another, being still and knowing that you're God. And as Jeremiah 29:13 says, you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. May that be so, Lord Jesus. Amen.